I'm Dr. Sheila Gilbert. Let's talk about the questions that stop most candidates cold, situational judgment questions. I hear it constantly. Dr. Gilbert, I study for weeks and I still feel lost when I get to those scenario questions. And I understand why. Situational judgment questions feel different. They don't ask you to recall a definition or identify a law. They put you inside a workplace scenario and ask you to think, to decide, to lead. And that right there is the key word, lead. Because these questions aren't testing what you know. They're testing who you are as an HR professional. Here's the good news. There is a system. And once you understand it, situational judgment questions stop being the questions you dread and start being the questions you own. Today, I'm going to walk you through 3 principles that will fundamentally change how you approach every single situational judgment question on your exam. These are not tips. These are not tricks. These are the professional standards that SHRM is measuring you against every time a scenario question appears on your screen. Here are the 3 principles. Number 1, evidence before action. Number 2, strategic ownership. Number 3, organizational reach. Let's break each one down. Principle 1, evidence before action. HR is a data-driven profession. Every decision we make, every policy, every investigation, every intervention should be grounded in evidence. That is not negotiable, and SHRM knows it. So when a situational judgment question asks you what the HR professional should do first, or what the best next step is, or how the HR professional should respond, before you even look at the answer choices, ask yourself one question. Does the HR professional in this scenario have enough information to act? Because if they don't, the answer is always some form of evidence gathering. Always. Now, here's what I need you to understand. The question will not always come out and ask you directly what the first step should be. SHRM is more sophisticated than that, so you have to read the scenario for clues. Look for language that signals the HR professional is encountering something new. Language like the HRBP was notified, or the HR director received a complaint, or the HR manager was recently assigned to this team. All of that language is telling you the same thing. The HR professional is walking into a situation without the full picture. And when that's the case, acting without gathering information first is not strategic. It's reckless. And SHRM will not reward recklessness. On the flip side, some questions will signal that the evidence has already been gathered. You might see language like, after conducting a thorough review, the HR director determined, or following the investigation, the HRBP confirmed. That language tells you the groundwork has been laid. The HR professional now has what they need. And in that case, the correct answer is not more information gathering, it's action. Read the scenario carefully. The clues are always there. Your job is to find them. Principle 2, strategic ownership. This principle is the heart of how SHRM evaluates HR professionals, and I want you to sit with it for a moment. Strategic ownership means that the HR professional takes visible, purposeful action to solve the problem. Not delegate it, not deflect it, not describe it, solve it. Let me say that again. The HR professional must take action to solve the problem. When you are reading your answer choices, you are looking for the option where HR steps up, where HR leads, where HR does something that directly moves the organization from where it is to where it needs to be. Here is a pattern I see in wrong answer choices all the time, and I want you to memorize this. Wrong answers either push the problem onto someone else, or they respond to the symptom instead of the cause. Pushing the problem onto someone else looks like the HR manager should refer the issue to legal counsel, or the HR director should advise the manager to handle the situation independently. Now, there are absolutely scenarios in which HR partners with legal or coaches a manager. But if the question is asking what HR should do, and HR's action is essentially to hand the problem to someone else entirely, that is not demonstrating strategic ownership. Responding to the symptom instead of the cause looks like this. The issue is that employees don't feel heard. A wrong answer might say the HR professional should send an email reminding employees that their feedback matters. That sounds supportive, but it doesn't fix anything. Telling people they matter and building systems that prove it are two very different things. SHRM wants to see the system. When you are evaluating your answer choices under this principle, hold each option up to this standard. Does this action taken by the HR professional resolve the actual problem? If the answer is no, if it redirects, reassures, or restates without resolving, eliminate it. Principle 3, organizational reach. This is the principle that separates good answers from the best answers on situational judgment questions, and it is the one most candidates overlook entirely. Organizational reach means that when HR solves a problem, the solution should extend as far across the organization as possible. We are not here to put out individual fires one by one. We are here to build systems that prevent fires from starting in the first place. So, when you are down to 2 or 3 answer choices that all seem reasonable, ask yourself which of these solutions has the widest reach? Which one addresses the most people, the most departments, the most sustained impact? A solution that works for one manager is a good answer. A solution that works for all managers is the best answer. A solution that fixes today's issue is a good answer. A solution that prevents tomorrow's issue is the best answer. SHRM is not testing whether you can handle a situation. SHRM is testing whether you can strengthen an organization. That distinction is everything when you're choosing between answer choices. And here's one more thing I want you to watch for under this principle: answers that bring in outside help without a clear organizational purpose. There is a time and place for external consultants, third-party vendors, and outside expertise. But if an answer choice brings someone in from the outside when the HR professional is perfectly positioned to lead the solution internally, that answer is pulling responsibility away from HR, not toward it. And that is not organizational reach, that is organizational avoidance. Putting it all together, let me show you how these 3 principles work as a system. Every time you encounter a situational judgment question, move through this sequence. First, read the scenario and ask, does the HR professional have enough information to act? If not, you're looking for an answer that demonstrates evidence gathering. If yes, move to the next question. Second, ask, which answer shows the HR professional taking direct, purposeful action to resolve the actual problem? Not a symptom, not a delegation, not a restatement, the actual problem. That is your strategic ownership filter. Third, if you still have more than one viable answer standing, ask, which solution has the broadest organizational reach? Which one impacts the most people, sustains the longest, builds the most capacity? That answer is your best answer. This sequence works. I have watched it work for over 6,500 students who came into this exam unsure about situational judgment questions and walked out having conquered them. You are not guessing on these questions. You are applying a professional standard, and that is exactly what SHRM is looking for. Perfect practice makes perfect results.